Most Wanted by Rae Carson came out on the very same day as Solo: A Star Wars Story, and then I was spending so much time covering the movie that I hadn't had time to read the book. Well, on our trip out in LA, which obviously we're still out here for the Schmodown and EA Play, I have finished the book, and I wanted to make sure I covered it as soon as I could for you guys. And since I don't have any of my normal stuff at home, this review will be a little more basic and bare bones, but hey, I just wanted to make sure that I could cover it as soon as possible. So this book is a young adult novel about Han and Qi'ra as they meet and grow up together on Corellia. Or at least it's kind of pitched as them growing up together, and I wouldn't say that's quite true because, as far as I can tell, it takes place very shortly before the events of the prologue in Solo. They're 19 in the book, and they are 19 in that prologue in the film, so it doesn't tell the story of them like growing up as children, but it is the first time that they ever met, their first adventure together. And also, I want to say, don't let the term young adult sway you from reading this. I get this question a lot, where people say like, oh, I don't really care about young adult novels, and I understand that impulse because I used to feel the exact same way, but having read all of the Star Wars young adult novels, I found them all to be very good, especially Lost Stars and Leia, Princess of Alderaan. And the author of those books, Claudia Gray, I had the fortune of meeting her at DragonCon, and she told me that young adult doesn't mean like Twilight, because that's just what I thought in my head. I was like, oh, young adult books, you mean like Twilight? And she's like, no, that's not what young adult means. It's about growing up. It's about young adults becoming adults. And when you look at it that way, it makes a whole lot more sense. And a lot of Star Wars is about exactly that. So Star Wars really does fit well in the young adult genre, and I just wanted to throw that out there in case someone were like, I'm kind of interested in the story, but I don't like young adult books, or I'm not interested in young adult books. Don't let that term throw you off. They can be very, very good. But getting back to Most Wanted specifically, a lot of young adult books have this kind of stereotype of being about romance, and I wouldn't say that Most Wanted is a romance story. It's more about friendship. I mean, there are hints at their future together about how they eventually have a romance, but this book is more about them becoming friends. Like, both of them, both Han and Qi'ra, grew up in Corellia and they don't trust anybody, and this is about how they meet and go on this little adventure together and learn to trust and learn that they can rely on other people. So in that sense, I think it was a very much needed story, because in Solo, one of my gripes was not really with the character of Qi'ra and how she was presented, but it was more like, we know that she's important to Han, but we don't know why. We never got anything early on that showed why Qi'ra is a good person and why she's worth caring about for us. Like, I kind of wish that we had a scene where she was protecting the younger scrum rats or something, just something that we could see so that we would know why she's a good person, why that we should care about her outside of the context of just Han liking her. So it was good to see them work together and bond. So while this book is about Han and Qi'ra, I would say that it's more of a Qi'ra story. She by far gets the most character moments. We learn the most about her because, I mean, we didn't need to really learn more about Han. We got all that in Solo: A Star Wars Story. So yeah, I'm glad that we got a lot of focus on Qi'ra. And there are a lot of good hints about her future. And we see how the two of them, these two characters, kind of react to their surroundings. I mean, they're both thrust into this adventure in the criminal underworld of Corellia. And it's interesting to see how Han kind of wants to work towards getting out of all of that. He wants to move on to something better, where Qi'ra seems content to be in the criminal underworld and to rise in those ranks. I mean, we see that she has a lot of potential for working with people that are above her status, so to speak. Like, we can see why she got to her position in the Crimson Dawn, why she is one of Dryden Voss's most trusted lieutenants. Like, all of that makes sense, and it's kind of cool to see her kind of figure out that she can rely on herself in some of these situations. She also learns to lean on Han, but it's cool to see that she is into this a little bit, that she wants to work towards a better life, but not necessarily one outside of crime, where Han is like, I want to be completely free and on my own. So I really liked that dynamic between the two of them. And that's great and all, and I did overall enjoy this book. It was a very fast and easy and fun read, but Most Wanted did kind of remind me of the books that came out after Rogue One. And this isn't really a problem with Most Wanted, the book, or even those books for Rogue One that I'm about to talk about. It's more something that I've noticed within Star Wars as a whole, and that's that I remember seeing Rogue One and being like, I didn't really connect with the character of Jyn Erso. And then the book Rebel Rising came out, and I really enjoyed it. And now when I watch Rogue One, I'm like, oh yeah, I understand this character a lot more. And Most Wanted kind of felt like that, where I didn't really bond with Qi'ra in the movie. Kind of like I said, I was like, okay, I get that she is important to Han, I just don't get why. And by the way, I felt the same way about Val. I was like, I get that she is important to Beckett, but I don't know why we as the audience should care about her other than Beckett thinks she's important. I wanted kind of those characters to get their own little moments. And now we're seeing that, yeah, the book is providing those moments, and I think it's good that we're getting them somewhere, but I also do see that as a fault in the film. I think that the films should be spending a little more time on their characters sometimes, and like just slow things down at the beginning on Corellia, just so we get to know Qi'ra a little bit. Now, I've done a lot of talking about Qi'ra, so let's talk a little bit about Han. When I reviewed the book Last Shot by Daniel Jose Older, I thought that he nailed the character of Han in 2 different timelines. And I think that Rae Carson also really nailed Han at the youngest point that we've seen him so far. It's like, yeah, you take kind of the Alden Ehrenreich Solo and take him back 3 years, and yeah, he's very energetic and he's not cynical yet. It's very clearly a younger version of what we saw in Solo: A Star Wars Story, so I thought that that was great. We also obviously get to spend a lot of time on Corellia, so we get to see some of its culture, how it is under Imperial rule, and it sounds, you know, not good. It's good to see that, how the people have just been oppressed and they're still kind of living out their lives as renowned shipbuilders, but not under good conditions, and everything is about efficiency and getting things done as fast as we can, and everything is just streamlined and kind of gross, and like people get hurt, and it's like, well, that just happens. Like, that's the risk you take when you live on Corellia now. And it's like, it's kind of like in Star Wars Rebels, how you know that Lothal can be so much better if the Empire weren't around. And we see that in kind of Ezra's visions, and we see that at the end of the series, that without the Empire, it can live up to its full potential. And it's like, yeah, we're seeing Corellia in this book and in Solo, but it's not the Corellia it should be. And also I want to say that there is a Rodian character named Sulo, who I thought was a very standout character in the book. I thought he deserved special mention, because he was someone that was just, I connected with him a lot. And obviously I talk about this a lot, but I really like connecting to characters, and when I latch onto a character, I really latch onto him, and I thought that Sulo was a wonderful creation by Carson. I'd say Most Wanted is pretty standard for a Star Wars book. It really succeeds in its goal of setting up the friendship between Han and Qi'ra and providing us a path for their future romance. I wouldn't say it's a must-read. I wouldn't rank it among my top favorite Star Wars books of all time, but it really did a good job of opening up the worlds and characters of Solo a little more. So if you're itching for more Solo-related content after the movie and you want just something that is fast and easy to read, this would be a good book for you. If you're interested in Most Wanted, you can get the audiobook for free right now on Audible. Just follow the link in the description or visit www.audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained to sign up for a free 30-day trial and receive a credit for 1 free book. You can use it on Most Wanted or a number of other Star Wars books, or get any book you want. The point is, you get a free book and you'll be supporting the channel when you do. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out my Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.